This is the BBC World Service, where Heart and Soul explores people's approaches to spirituality.
Your spiritual journey is to find the balance and strength that you can manage the ups and downs of life.
It brings that inner peace when there's so much chaos in the outside world.
Fundamentally, it's all about positivity, living a positive life.
Heart and Soul at bbcworldservice.com or search Heart and Soul wherever you get your podcasts. And in an hour, we join Dennis Lloyd for Sports World.
The semi-final lineup at the Rugby World Cup will be completed today and will be in France ahead of the two remaining quarter-finals. We'll also have commentary of a WSL Merseyside derby as Liverpool host Everton at Anfield. Join us for Sports World in an hour.
On air, online and on mobile, this is the BBC World Service, the world's radio station.
With Andrew Kalukas. Scores of Palestinians trying to flee a likely Israeli invasion of Gaza have been killed or injured by an Israeli bomb. Global Affairs Editor John Lyons.
In Gaza, where Israel has dropped more than 6,000 bombs over the last week, as many as 1 million people from Gaza City are trying to flee south after a warning from the Israeli army. One of those bombs hit cars and a truck fleeing to the south. Gaza's Ministry of Health says 40 people were killed and 150 injured, mostly women and children. The United Nations says at least 700 children in Gaza have been killed by Israeli bombs over the last week. John Lyons, ABC News, Jerusalem.
The United Nations Children's Agency UNICEF says at least 700 Palestinian children have been killed in Israeli bombing of the Gaza Strip this week. Earlier, the World Health Organization warned that an order by Israel to evacuate hospitals in northern Gaza ahead of the planned land incursion is tantamount to a death sentence for the most vulnerable patients. This girl in Gaza says the Israeli airstrikes have frightened her.
I'm really in fear, and every time I just have to have the thought of me dying in a bomb in Gaza. And every place I go run away, and I just find bombs and I find dead people, and maybe one day I'll end up like them, but it's a really scary thing for me.
Foreign Minister Penny Wong has confirmed more repatriation flights for Australian citizens wanting to leave Israel have been organised. Matthew Doran has the details.
Concern around missiles being fired over or around Tel Aviv Ben Gurion Airport led to the cancellation of scheduled flights. Penny Wong says the department has been working urgently behind the scenes to try to come up with some sort of alternative. These flights are going to be a mixture of charter flights and also flights conducted by Australia's Air Force. The details as to how many defence planes are in the area remain unknown. The ABC knows there are at least 3 RAAF planes that have been forward positioned to the Al Minhad Air Base, which is in Dubai. Australians who have registered should be keeping an eye and an ear out for any contact.
Tech giant Google has been issued with a formal warning, and X, formerly known as Twitter, handed a fine for a lack of transparency about their attempts to prevent child sexual exploitation on their platforms. The Australian E-Safety Commissioner handed both companies legal notices in February, compelling them to detail how they detect and prevent the material, but neither adequately responded. Commissioner Julie Inman Grant says Twitter, or X, has been issued with a $610,000 fine for non-compliance. The company has 28 days to contest or pay the fine. Sheep producers in Western Australia say the federal government's plan to phase out live exports has increased the number of farmers looking to exit the industry, resulting in oversupply. Sophie Johnson has more.
Nationally, prices for live sheep have fallen by more than 60% over 6 months. And in Western Australia, where farmers are more reliant on exports,